Okay, welcome to this video. We're going to be going through your aerobic threshold training. Okay, so this is a really important part of our training phase. Okay, we just want to take a little bit of time to process and digest what we're going to be learning how to do it today. All right, so why do we need to work our aerobic system? Our aerobic system is incredibly important. It's the thing which sustains our energy throughout the whole of our lives at rest, as well as when we're starting to do our more endurance sports, our adventuring outside is going to be a lot of the time spent in our aerobic state. Okay, so the ability to be able to use oxygen to drive our muscles, simply put. Okay, anaerobic is without oxygen. That's our strength and stability work, as well as sprinting and more of our power work where we're developing that. Now, a lot of people will miss this part of their training out because it is the slow grinding miles. It is the stuff which is not sexy. Okay, it is not explosive, it's not powerful. Okay, but it is so important. It helps us reduce stress. It helps us build a body that is robust enough to fend off injuries and keep our biomechanics correct. It allows us to train for longer and further, but also it allows us to keep on progressing. And that is our own point, is that we need to apply overload constantly to then progress and then get fitter and stronger as we move forwards. And this training style means that we can constantly progress up forwards, not just explode out for a couple of months and then drop back down because we've gotten injured or we're burnt out and we've trained too hard too quickly. Okay, so this training zone is very, very important. We're going to be using a heart rate monitor for our guide on this. Okay, heart rate monitor is the best way to work out exactly how we're training in this aerobic threshold zone. It is a very good biofeedback into knowing how the body is feeling and if we need to slow down, even if we can't tell ourselves. If we're far too mentally stressed or physically stressed, our bodies will let us know through our heart rate, and this is a brilliant way to be able to adjust our training exactly how you need it constantly. Okay, so I want you to get a heart rate monitor. Okay, you may already have one. I want you to be able to get a heart rate monitor which is a chest strap, because the new ones which are on the time of recording are not very good. Okay, I've experimented with quite a few of the wrist ones and they're just not accurate. They give random readings and can be incredibly important, especially with this style of training. Okay, the other thing is that we need to leave our ego at the door with this style of training. Okay, just forget about it. We are not going to be sprinting and moving very quickly to be able to create that, and sometimes we need to really slow down to speed up. It's a counteractive thing, and you may have picked up this through other people speaking about it or reading about it, and it is so powerful that it really does help us move through. When I first started doing this training, I remember working out my heart rate zone and going, wow, that's pretty low, and sticking my heart rate monitor on and going for a run. I was soon straight up to that threshold point, and as soon as there was a little hill in the way, I had to stop and walk up to even keep my heart rate down at that. It was very humbling in that fact, but after a couple of weeks I was able to do the same run at the same heart rate, and I was running up the hills. I was going quicker on the flats than I was previously, and I noticed that my training was improving and improving time and time again. Instead of staying static, I was actually making progression at the same level of effort. So I was keeping at the same heart rate, but I was getting quicker at that same heart rate, and I'd never experienced anything like that before with other styles of training. A lot of people will end up sliding into a higher heart rate, working at that in sort of intense zone, and burning out because they can't maintain it, getting into biomechanical issues because they're running too quickly or cycling too quickly, and end up getting injured and stopping training there. So it brings in that consistency into our training as well. So to work it out, it's a very simple equation. We take 180 and we minus our age. Okay, so 180 minus 35, if you're 35 years old, for example, is 145, and that is our maximum aerobic threshold heart rate. So during all your aerobic threshold training without sprints, we will be keeping at that heart rate zone and not going above it. If you go above it, you need to slow down quickly and take some deep breaths so that you're able to stay in that heart rate. We minus 10 as well to make it a zone. So if it's 145, you minus 10 to make it 135, and your heart rate zone would be 135 to 145, and you're just staying in that zone as much as possible within that 10 beats, as close to the top number as you possibly can. But obviously when we're out and about, it's very difficult to do. Now, we're going to be spending a majority of our time training in this zone, and this really does benefit us for igniting body fat as our major energy source, keeping consistent, progressing quickly and moving forward so you're able to move faster at that same heart rate zone, and developing our body's ability to be able to recover quickly after workouts as well, so we're able to get that consistency into our training. Now, we will be bringing some sprints and some other higher intensity training with some hill repeats and stuff like that into the mix as well, but we're going to be limiting that down. And in between those sprints, we're going to be trying to work back down to that aerobic heart rate, and also the majority of our long runs or our long rides, or whatever your sport you're choosing, you're going to be keeping at that lower heart rate zone. So we're really going to be focusing on building that up. If you've got any questions or anything amongst those, I know some of you might be really experienced with this technique and want some more sort of help and advice on how to improve it, or you're really struggling to work out what your heart rate is, then just get in touch and we'll go through a few of those questions and answers for you at that stage. So take-home messages. This is a very powerful tool to develop our aerobic threshold, which means that we can reduce stress, keep injury free, go longer and further quicker, and burn body fat as our major energy source. And that is incredibly powerful for our functional health, our well-being at home and at rest, but also our ability to be able to get out there and adventure whenever we want. We want to be adventure ready, and the ability to be able to go, right, this weekend I am going to do X, and it's a big event, or it's a whatever it might be, a challenge, or it might be just climbing some trees with the kids or messing around. We need to be able to keep 365 days of the year fit enough to be able to do any adventure we want to be doing, and that is our goal. And this is a very important aspect of keeping that goal working through. So I hope you're excited about it. I want you to go away, download the PDF, read through that. It just reiterates what I've been talking about, and it allows you to work out your heart rate zone. You need to get a heart rate monitor, you need to strap it on, you need to choose the sport which you're going to be concentrating on, and then get cracking. Okay, you're going to be doing a slow warm up until that heart rate zone. Okay, keep within that zone and then cool down at the end for the time period. We'll experiment with different time periods, and like I say, we're going to be working your anaerobic and your power systems by a lot of the strength and stability work we're going to be doing alongside this. Great stuff. Any questions, of course, get back in touch. Thank you.